Hey everybody, it's Dave, Blue Jacket 66, here for another video, believe it or not. This one is a video response to Rick Vintage Oddball Cards. He's one of my favorite YouTubers, has one of the greatest collection on YouTube, and collects right up my alley with primarily pre-war. Very knowledgeable. We text back and forth all the time. I know what he has looking forward to, and I oftentimes get sneak peek looks at some of his recent purchases. But he wanted a video response for his 2,000 subscriber contest. Congratulations to you for that. And his contest is to show a card that may stump John Mangini. Not necessarily a set or an issue, specifically card within it, but just a card within a set or issue that John Mangini doesn't have. So let's just say it's a set of 50 cards and Mangini has none of them and you have one, then you have a card within an issue or a set that Mangini doesn't. So it doesn't matter that you have a cob and he has a plank. That's not what they're talking about. He just wants a card from a set or issue that Mangini does not have any card from that set or issue. And I think I can fill that, to be honest with you. And he knows I can. That's not a problem. He has probably far more type cards from different sets than I do. But I do have quite a few from sets I know he doesn't have. So that would be no fun for me to just throw those out there. So I started thinking about it, and I started thinking about maybe I can think of a card from a set or issue that I have that he doesn't have, but he may. I think that there's probably a 60-70% chance he doesn't have it, but a small percentage chance he does. And if he does, it certainly gives him opportunity to show that card, which would be interesting because obviously if you're showing an issue that he may not have something from, it's likely interesting. The other thing is I thought, well, what about an issue that if he doesn't have it, it may be something not over the top about he may be able to acquire it. So that's what I came up with. I did come up with an issue that I'm not positive he has it or doesn't have it. He may. Probably 70% chance he doesn't. But I don't know. If he does, we'll see. And if he doesn't, I think it's something that he'll find interesting and pursue at one point or look for it. It is an issue that is uncommon. It's a set of, I believe, 22 cards, and the PSA population on each player within it is about 15 or 20. So hard to find, and you may not have heard of this issue. But we're going to jump forward, and this is a 1970s issue. I'm not a big 70s collector, although I got to tell you, the 70s was the greatest decade ever. And if you grew up, if you're a kid in the late 60s, early 70s, you would give up your iPhone, your iPad, the internet, and everything you have to go back to be a boy or a child in those times. So, it was pretty much Get Up, Fruit Loops, Hawaiian Punch, jean shorts, shirts optional, certainly no socks with the shoes, jump on your Schwinn Stingray, ride to your best friend's house, lay the bike down in his driveway or front yard, knock on the door, ask Miss Collins, can Peter come out and play? Peter would run out that door, and then the adventure began, and it didn't end until you'd hear your mom call for you or your dad whistle for you. So the 70s were awesome, and so is this issue I'm going to show you. But we're going to jump first 5 years forward to 1978. And that's another interesting thing about this brings in a couple. I love non-sport stuff. Specifically, I love pop culture, cartoons, TV shows, 60s, 70s, the Munsters, Gilligan's Island, etc. But everybody loves Star Wars, and Star Wars came out with their initial 1977, 5 sets of Topps cards that were fantastic. I didn't actually buy them then. I was 15, 16. I wasn't buying Star Wars cards, but I loved the Star Wars the movie, along with other movies that came out that time, such as The Last Starfighter and Enemy Mine and all that stuff, all that space stuff. And Raiders of the Lost Ark, fantastic time for movies. But anyway, Star Wars came out that set in 77. They had later sets as well. But in 1978, and we'll get to this John Mangini thing. In 1978, they came out with an issue of what was called 1977 Star Wars sugar-free gum wrapper cards. And they came in a box. I don't remember ever seeing them. I think that this is not a common issue, because I really didn't, not that I should, but I didn't really know about this until I ran across a few cards at a Dallas card show 4 or 5 years ago. So they came in a box, and each box I think had 36 quote-unquote packs, and what they were is they were essentially one stick of gum, sugar-free gum, that George Lucas wanted the diabetics to be able to buy his product as well. Sugar-free gum, and around that gum was a Star Wars poster. Then it had a wrapper on the outside. So the idea was one stick, a rectangular stick of gum with a wrapper around the outside. And here is one of those quote-unquote wrappers. I think it's an extremely hard one to get. I think it's the Darth Vader. Oh, and I don't think our lighting here is any good at all. But this right here would wrap around the piece of gum. So they're actually wrappers, and this is unfolded, so it was clearly not used. Here is what you would see, I believe, on the outside. And it says, to open, tear along this perforation, Star Wars sugar-free gum, bubble gum, movie photo, pinup inside, which is this other side here. So here we have Topps doing this Star Wars gum wrapper, where it's essentially to sell their piece of gum. That, believe it or not, back then they were actually selling gum. They had this neat Star Wars wrapper, which now you can collect them. I think that there's like 55 or 56 of them in the set. And I ran across some of them already graded at the Dallas Card Show. My son was with me, and I grabbed them, and I said, let's buy some of these, and we put them away. And we bought, I think, a Luke Skywalker, that one, and maybe one or two others. But they're available. If you look for them now, you'll see them. I'd love to have an unopened box. But Topps is doing wrappers. Well, let's go back 5 years, 1973. And here's my issue that I want to do for John. The 1973 Topps Pinups were a test issue, was the exact same idea. This small, quote-unquote, poster that's, 4 by 6 inches or so, that would be wrapped around a piece of gum and sold that way, where the wrapper is actually the card and you're buying the gum on the inside. But that was a test issue, and I don't think that it was actually ever released, because the ones that are found are, well, I looked on the population report. Some of them are in 8s to 10s, and then there's some that are poor that probably just have tears because they're pretty fine. But there were 22 players, and there's like Hank Aaron, Reggie Jackson, Harmon Killebrew, Brooks Robinson, Tony Oliva, etc. I think there's 22 of them. Very difficult. Again, PSA is graded somewhere between 12 to 20 at most of each of the issues. And I have the 1973 Topps Pinups Nolan Ryan. I've showed this before on my channel a long time ago. Take a look at that. Sorry about the glare, but it's better over here, I guess. And on the back, it says baseball pinups, net 0.6 ounces, bubblegum, collect all 24 baseball pinups. And that's it. So essentially this was wrapped around a stick of gum, or that was the plan at least. And that was the product. But it was a test issue and never released. The 1973 Topps Pinups. Pretty rare issue. John, do you have one?